Hey guys, this is Courtney with There's Court Budgets. Welcome to my monthly budget closeout video for the month of March. Can you believe that we are actually done with March and we are doing our closeout video? I cannot believe it. It is crazy. Crazy, crazy. So I tried to kind of prep my planner a little bit for March. So I'm going to pull everything up to my week one of expenses, just right here. And I didn't completely prep everything because I wanted to kind of show you the process that I do. And then, but I will speed you up and then we'll kind of recap everything at the end. So what I do is I keep track of my expenses weekly, and I'm using a planner that I purchased. I'm not really using the planner as a planner. I thought I would, and then I always have good intentions and I never do. But as you can see, my planner is blank for the week. So I decided, and then after every week it had this blank page. So I decided to just do my expense tracking in it. I don't end up doing the meal planning. So yeah, I just don't have time to plan. It's a lovely idea and I like the idea of it, but I just never do it. So I have decided to just make this little planner into my budget planner, and it is working just fine for this year. And so, like I said, what I do, I keep track of all my expenses, and then let me reach over here and grab this. I break them down by category, and right now I have all these different budget categories. So I use kind of the budget mom, her method of kind of organizing everything. And this was a freebie up on her website, this page right here. So I just printed it off and decided out, what categories I was going to use. And this, like I've talked about in other videos, I'm probably going to do some um, changing of it. And I may end up switching out one of the categories because I am starting to have like a lot of like budget expenses and expenses kind of related to this whole YouTube trip that I'm on. And so I wasn't anticipating that really, at all. And then it's kind of turned into I may end up making it to this a side hustle. I just don't know. So I'm just kind of, this year is going to be just kind of figuring it out in the next year or two and deciding. But I may have to make a little bit of changing and either adding on another category or switching out a category that I don't seem to use very much. So I am having a lot of like budgeting expenses, and you'll see that on my Amazon shopping. And then also I have a little bit on Temu as well, but I don't spend that much on Temu that often, so I didn't break it down as a category, all that to say. But I'm still kind of figuring that out, but I probably will end up putting a budgeting category in at some point, and where I decide um, to do that, I'm not sure. Right now, I know this is like first world problems, but right now I've used all the highlighters that I have, and so I don't have another highlighter to just add on another category, which would be ideal. So I'm either going to have to buy more highlighters that are a little bit different coloring so I can use them, or maybe there's one that I'm not using that often. As I kind of go through the next few months, I can kind of figure out, well, I'm not really like, honestly, like my savings category, I've been thinking about like I don't know. I mean, I put $400 a month in my IRA, and that's the only thing that gets tracked once a month in here. So I'm like, like, do I really? I mean, I like to have it, so I don't know. Anyway, it's definitely just um a ebb and flow type thing. I mean, you figure it out as you go and you make changes and on all that stuff. So all that to say, this is my categories, and so I do the highlighting method, and so you will see me go through my weekly expenses, and then back in the back of my planner I had a whole bunch more blank pages, and so I ended up creating, and you can see previous months here that I've done, I created these budget category breakdowns, which is kind of from the Budget Moms method. And I created these stickers in Canva and then brought them over into my Cricut and just made my own stickers to kind of dressed it up a little bit. And anyway, so I went ahead and for the month of March, I went ahead and wrote down all my categories, my budget categories, and I wrote down the amount that I have budgeted for each item. So I went ahead and kind of pre-prep that. And I think what I'll do is I will keep you zoomed out and then I'll zoom you in at the end so you can kind of see everything a little bit better. But this is how I do my closeout. And so I basically go through each week and I add up. Um, well, I just start like with car. And so I go through and I will add up all the expenses for the car highlighting. Um, that's the easiest, quickest way to do it. And then I will add it in at the back. So we're just going to go through, I'll just do one of them here for you and kind of explain it as I go. And then I will speed you up on the rest of the categories. So, all right. So I had some car washes back in February because it was snowy. And then that was a gas expense. And then I had my car insurance. And I just realized, wait a minute, I bet that I put those on February's thing. So I am going to stop and I'm going to refresh because I forgot that this particular week in my planner went up through Friday, February 28th, and then it started with Saturday, March 1st. But this expense tracker for that week fell into March. So actually, I don't need to count those two things because I would have counted them in on February. So let me redo. So, okay. So now let me start with this week. So for car, we have our car insurance. And then gas expense. And then we have more gas. And then we have a couple more gas. I totally screwed up, y'all. Okay, well, this is real life and a calculator. Hi, and like, I don't know why I hit the clear completely instead of the second clear. Okay, so let's redo. So 117.37 plus 23.68 plus 28.13 plus 26.24 plus 18.80 plus, now we'll see, 1971. And then we're at April. So that equals 233.93. So then I go back here. Oh, and I tried to raise you guys up so that I wouldn't bump into you guys. And then here I am, still bumping into you guys. Sorry. Maybe. See, I'm just a hot mess. This is me being a hot mess. So 233.93. So that is how much I spent for like gas and all of that stuff. And I forget to do this every single time because I don't write it down. But I save for some cash envelopes and I forget that I do $30 of car maintenance every time. So plus 30. So 263.93. Okay. And then we do the difference. So 450 is how much I have budgeted minus 263.93. And so I have a positive difference of 186.07. Okay. And then my next category is savings. And so that one's always easy because I'm trying to save $1,000 a month into my savings challenges and my games. And then I always put in $1,400 or $400 in my IRA. So that always is an easy one to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and speed you guys up as I go through the rest of these, and then I will show you guys everything when I get it all done at the very end, and we will discuss it, and I will zoom you in so you can see a little bit better. All right, here we go. All right, guys, so I'm going to zoom you in here so you can see the damage done. So a lot of this is just a matter of going and trying to keep yourself on track. And I didn't keep myself so much on track on my Amazon spending. That's what really kind of got me this month. And so we'll go through it. So, okay. So for my car expenses, I have budgeted $350, $450, excuse me. And that includes for like gas and then my car maintenance that I save for, as well as a cash envelope, and then as well as my insurance, not, yeah, car insurance, that kind of stuff. I don't save for tags and taxes. I probably should, but I haven't been saving for that. But maybe that's where I'll pull out of that like car maintenance and use some of the money from there um, to do that. But I may need to beef that up just a little bit because I have to get my oil changed every so often. That's really what that's for. So I had $186.07 left over that I didn't spend out of my car category. My savings category is always going to be zero because I definitely always save that amount each month. And then my subscriptions category, I don't know if I just added something up wrong. It probably is supposed to be $68, and for some reason I had $69. But I only spent $67.98. So it left me $1.02 left, which I think like I said, it should be 68, and I somehow recalculated that wrong. And then my giving, so I have only 250 came out so far this month, but that's partly because the end of the month is like going to roll over into April, and so the next 250 will come out into April. So that's kind of why there's a little credit there. So really that should be zero, but we went with it. And then my house, I had 2121 that I had budgeted for, and then I only spent 1927.77. That's on with my mortgage, my um, utilities, lawn care, all of that. So I had 193.23 left over in this category, which was nice. Um, so basically, that I think a lot of it was I had budgeted for like a bunch for my utilities for my electric, and then I was able to get on the leveling plan, so that kind of made a difference there. So that will be probably closer to zero in the future. And then my entertainment category, I didn't budget any and I didn't spend any. So yay for me on that one. Eating out, I didn't budget any. I don't budget any for that. And then I only spent $12.74. So besides maybe what I do in cash, but this was like what came out of like credit or debit card. And then my miscellaneous category really got me this time, but the bulk of this is like $656 of that is for my soil that I ordered from Home Depot, which you saw in my weekly Wednesday check-in video one time. And so I actually had money that I got for like a year-end bonus last year, and I didn't get nearly the amount that I like by the time they took taxes and stuff out, I only got $400. So but it helped offset that basically. So I had some money, plus I was going to put some towards it that I had in savings um, to cover the soil space. So that's why that was so expensive this time. Normally it's not going to be that bad. Normally this is just like my Etsy and Temu spending. Um, and then groceries, I budget $400 a month. I spend it because if I don't use the cash towards groceries, I put it in my other um, areas in my wallet, like personal or eating out. That's what I'll do a lot of times with that. And then pet expenses was 50. I put that right now to a box challenge. I didn't have any extra pet expenses that came out for this month. And then gifts is a basically I do a sinking fund for that, and so I pulled out the sinking fund, and then so that's a zero balance on that one. And then Amazon I don't budget anything for, and then I had pretty heavy Amazon expenses this month, 451.68. So I was in the hole there for sure. Um, and then health and beauty again is just my cash envelope, and so I didn't have any extra health and beauty expenses, so that was a zero difference. So I am in the hole, a negative $710.61. But like I said, most of that is already covered because I had that bonus that I didn't account for, and stuff like that. So that's how much I went over in these categories. Not that I'm in the hole, but that's how much I went over in these categories. So just to kind of show you my monthly budget breakdown and kind of my recap there. So all right, so I knew I was going to have a lot more expenses this month because of that soil. That's really what got me, because honestly that was 700 and some dollars. Not 700, $656. So I really wouldn't have been, minusing that out, I really wouldn't have been that much of a difference overall between what I budgeted and what I spent. So that and Amazon, those two things really got me. So I know where my spending goes And I was like, what all did I spend on Amazon? So I was like trying to look back here, and that's kind of helpful. And it was a lot of stuff is budgeting. So I really think I probably need to do a budget category. Um, but let's just see here. So we'll recap together just for my accountability's sake. So this was in February. So I don't think I counted that in. I hope I didn't in my Amazon, but if I did, that was an extra $34 that would have gone into February technically. But I bought coffee, and then I had bought that little cat house. I didn't end up putting this into the pet category because I mean, I guess I could have, but it wasn't for Zoe. It was for that little stray cat who now is not at my house anymore. So I knew I shouldn't have spent that. That was an expense I didn't need to spend, but I did. I was feeling sorry for her. It was cold, and here I am. But that was budgeting. So coffee, the cat house, budgeting. I don't know here on these. I didn't break them down. I know some of this was budgeting. It must have been more personal. What did I buy on Amazon? I just don't even remember. I do not remember at all. Um, but then that was budgeting, garden, personal. So, yeah, so I did definitely spend a lot more on Amazon than I normally have been. Let's just recap. So, yeah, in January was 229.08. February was 343.81. Every month it just goes up. Okay. Okay, Courtney. That was a not a smart idea. Not a smart idea. And my miscellaneous category was 284 and then 117. And then of course that one was really a lot because of the soil. So my eating out's pretty good because I was 43.55. I only had 17.42 there and then 12. So the eating out was pretty good. I was just kind of looking at the categories that I don't budget anything for. Entertainment, I don't remember what I did there, but I had 140.05. I didn't have anything entertainment wise last month, and then this month I didn't. So I'm not really spending much in entertainment. So if that continues to be the trend, that's probably where my budgeting is going to go. And I'm going to put budgeting there instead of entertainment. It's probably what's going to happen. Budgeting expenses. So budgeting slash business expenses. I mean, it's not really a business, but I don't know. Anyway, so all right, guys. Well, that concludes my monthly budget recap and my breakdown of my monthly budget and showing you guys how everything come together at the end of the month. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.